Hello, and welcome back to my studio. We are finishing up this question of why on earth do we make journals? I know for sure I have not covered all the answers, but I've covered some of the answers. This is Wild Sun Art Studio. My name is Robinsunne. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. So, in the first video in this series, we were talking about a book that was either stapled or sewn in the pamphlet style. It's just, let's do this one. It's just some papers in the middle and a piece of cardstock. This can be any size you want. This is 8.5 by 11 paper and 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Yeah, and then I just sewed them. There were 3 holes, and you just go in and out and then tie it off. And you have a little book that is very cute. If you want, you can make a book like that and put all kinds of fun little cards and cute things in pockets. Yeah, so believe in yourself and you can make a book that has all kinds of fun, interactive things in it. It even can have other little books that are also, this one was stapled, but it's still in the pamphlet style. So yeah, just keep gluing stuff in and keep drawing and keep making fun stuff. And then glue it all in a book, and you will have a fun place to entertain yourself or family members who are hanging out with you, perhaps over, this video is coming out at Christmas time, so perhaps over a Christmas vacation holiday, if folks in your family need something to do, they go, oops, this would be upside down. Oh no, it's not. This is just an upper tuck. So yeah, let even your so-called small mark or whispered call be your life's work. So you can also take leftover bits of shopping bags and old notebooks you haven't used up and copies of just about anything. There's some lined notebook paper right there. I have a photocopy of a paper cut. Yeah, you can just put about any old thing inside your book. You can make your own fancy papers. You can type your own fancy papers. Then, yeah, just decorate the living something or other out of your book. So this is a pamphlet. These are all pamphlet stitched. They're just somehow affixed to each other with staples or sewing. I guess you could even almost use glue, maybe, if you had a really fine line of glue. So yeah, this is a pamphlet stitch book. They're pretty easy. My kids were doing those when they were little. Very little, like I think we were making those books when we started around the time they were 3 and 4. So yeah. But it could be that you might need a book that has a little more depth and that maybe has, you see the sewing creates 2 lines. That means there's 2 folded signatures in the middle. And we talked about making your own papers a little bit, just draw all over the papers and then copy them a million times in, maybe not a million, on your copier. And then you have your very own gorgeous journaling papers to make journals with. And it depends how you use your journals. If you want to glue lots of fun things in them, like photographs of your family or where you've been or your Instagram posts or something like that, then a page that has an all over design might be good for you. So there and there. This would be a great page to put photographs on, I think. Or you might be a little bit more like me and love to journal. So that would mean you would need lots of pages that had lines on them or were blank, depending on what you like to journal on. I kind of like the lines. I mean, lots of times I write bigger than the lines, but I get very excited about what I'm saying. And I showed you how to make this sort of a what's this? Probably a 3/8 inch spine. And then we talked a little bit about decorating one's book. So this is another journal that just has the pages that I drew in it. Look. Where is that? Here. Candles. For Santa Lucia Day, for St. Nicholas Day, for the winter solstice, for Christmas. Yeah. Candles are a very wonderful symbolism, like an idea or hope. Yeah. And someday I'll have to teach you this method of paper cutting. And in this book, I started using a whole bunch of color, and I put in all kinds of cards with lots of colors and birds and stuffs, and yeah, so keep going. Just keep on making stuff, and even if it's just little polka dots from your paper punch or paper cuts. And I have lots of video. There's a whole, if you go to my homepage on YouTube, there's under playlists, there are a whole bunch of videos that teach how to make very pretty paper cuts, which I love because they're just so delicate. And you know what? I love the symmetry. For me, these paper cuts are very relaxing because the same symbol, it goes all the way around. The little square goes all the way around. The long line goes all the way around. It's so symmetrical, and for me, this is very calming. I really like that. Or you can go all rando. That's fine too. And today, we are going to make a Crackerbox journal, which is taking the whole process of journal making kind of up a step. So this was a box of crackers, and this is a wonderful box because if you take a piece of paper, whether it's wherever you are, A4 or the American 8.5 by 11, and you fold it in half, this box is bigger than the folded page, which means I have lots of room to make a cover. The thing that's kind of tricky about using a box is you may, and cereal boxes are great for this too, you may have more width here than you want for your book. I mean, sometimes it's great to make a book with big, thick signatures and, like 5, 6, 8 signatures. That's totally fun. I've been there and done that. This is 2 inches wide though, and I thought that this would be a little too wide to get into today. So what I did was, this is the magic of video making. I took the box and I cut the flaps off the bottom, and I measured out for about how big I would like the cover to be, just a smidgen bigger at the top and on the side and on the bottom than the piece of paper that'll kind of protect the edges of the papers. And because I thought this 2-inch spine was going to be a little bit much for me, I marked it at the 1-inch space, and I'm going to cut this line and overlap the two sides. It's going to give me a very, very sturdy spine, because it'll be both layers glued on top of each other, but it also makes it a little less wide of a spine, and I get to make a thinner, more reasonable book. So what I did was I took my box, I measured it all out, and then I cut where I said, and I glued it together. And now my cracker box cover looks like this. So there's the 1-inch spine, and this is the paper is 5.5 inches wide, so I made this 5 3/4, and it's 8.5 inches tall, and so I made this 8 3/4. So it's just a little bit bigger all the way around to give me lots of room for my papers to go inside. So I'll just talk you through what I did for the edges and for the spine. So I took the two sides and glued them together here, and then I covered everything with this blue masking tape, just because I really like the color. You can use, there's so many different patterns you can get on duct tape, and it's fine to use that. Although I find that duct tape, when you're sewing the signatures into the spine, it makes everything so gummy. It's just so super sticky and gummy, which is great if you need that much stick. But sewing through it means all my needles get gum all up and down the needle. So that's fine. You can clean it off with, what is it? Goo Gone, I think. You can buy that. I know I've found that on Amazon before, and sometimes local stores have it too. I don't know, it's some lovely chemical liquid that will de-gum your scissors or your needles. But I like often masking tape a little bit more. The stick is pretty good, and I love this color. You can also buy, I've seen lavender, I've seen pale green. You can also use metal tape, which comes in a lovely silver color. Although, in my experience, the bending of a cover here can cause the metal tape to actually crack. So it's not as long lasting as masking tape. You could use packing tape. You could use a pretty color of cardstock on the spine and then use clear packing tape over it. That could work. But anyway, I decided to go with blue, and then I realized that I had pages and that didn't work for the colors in the pages, that this color, bland though it might be, actually worked a little better with my papers. So, see, that works better. So, I decided to go over the blue with the kind of manila color, and you see the darkness underneath, and when I covered it with my cardstock, it just looks kind of manila. So I decided it would be okay. So let me go over the gluing. I have two colors of gray, and I decided to put the dark gray on the inside. One of these has a pencil line on it. Oh no, I cut that off. That's on this side. So I glued that pencil line down so we wouldn't see it. So once you get tape around all the edges and tape all over the spine, then we can cover the inside cover and the outside cover with some cardstock. Yay, a video that shows you how to glue. This is so fun. This is why I pre-did some of my cover, because this is potentially less exciting than some of the other things we can do. Let's draw a heart on the inside, just for fun. And then I'm going to put this down so that a little bit of the tape shows all the way around. I'll do the front cover, which is the lighter of these two. La la la. Having a lovely time gluing. This, by the way, is Elmer's glue. I always say that. Another heart. It's in the art glitter bottle, but it's really just Elmer's glue. This is gluing paper to paper, and I find that I don't really need anything super, super sticky. Even on the tape, it seems to be holding just fine. Okay, so now we've got our cover. And with all this matting with the cardstock, it's actually making the cover kind of hefty, which is nice. So then we need to figure out how to make holes in the spine. And somewhere, oh, it's right here. This is blue board. I used it for a painting board, which we can see with all the lovely colors on it. And then I needed a board that I can use my awl with. If you don't have an awl or leftover blue board, and I can't imagine why you'd have this unless you went out and bought this specifically for this. But the blue board lets me punch things without going through to the table. And so we'll open up the signature to the middle. And what I did was I took this is 8.5 inches wide, and I took a little strip of paper and I folded it in half. So now I know where the middle is, and I can put a hole right there. And then I folded it down an equal amount on both sides, and I put little black dots in these 3 spaces. So now if I line that up together, I know exactly where to punch holes. And if you don't have an awl, you can always use a push pin. And if you don't have blue board, you can use an old magazine or something like that. So I already pre-punched the other signatures. So my signatures all have holes where I can do the sewing, and now I need to put holes into the cover. So I have my 3 holes, and I took a pen, not this pen, but a pen, and I've got 4 signatures, so I made 4 signatures along the line of this dot, and 4 punches, and 4 punches here, and 4 dots here to punch. So now I can take my blue board and I know right where to punch. So I will sew in one of the signatures, and when you are making a multiple signature cracker box journal, you would just keep on sewing in this same way. So I am using this is Coats and Clark's Button and Craft thread. It's just a little bit stronger than the average thread. And let's see, what's the front? Pretty sure this is the front of my book. Doesn't really matter because they all look alike. So I'm going to take my top signature, and I like to have, this is personal choice, I like to have my signature strings on the inside of my signature so that I can put little charms on the end of paper charms on the end of the string, and it looks pretty. I like that. Lots of people who make journals like to have their strings coming out of the cover, either from the top or from the middle. And then they put charms on the outside, and then you can use like metal and plastic and really dimensional things as charms. It's totally your choice. So we take our needle and go through the signature, and then I'm going to go through what's going to be the top signature hole here. Let's get a little help. Go. So we come out at the top, and we check on the inside to make sure we don't pull the thread all the way out again. Then I'm going to go into the cover, keeping my stitches going down the same line. So I'll go into the cover, and then into into the signature right where the hole is. Alrighty, there we go. I'll go out and out on the cover. Different people sew their signatures differently. I like having my ties come off of the top hole. So I go back in, I sew back into the middle. And while you do have to be kind of careful not to sew through the thread that's already inside that hole, the fact is most of the time I don't. So I tend not to be too... Now I'm pulling tight enough to get all the looseness taken up. And I do what is called a surgeon's knot. So this is a regular overhand knot where I go under once, but then I wrap it around and go under twice. And that is the difference between a regular knot and a surgeon's knot. So then I hold it with my whatever finger happens to be available, and I make another just single loop knot and pull it under my finger so that that's all staying pretty tight. So now I have two nice little strings, and I can use a paper punch and cut stars or hearts or diamonds or circles or whatever I want. And my first signature is sewn in, and I managed to get it in upright. Pretty darn smart of me. Of course, if I'd done it upside down, there's a number 1 here, and this is sort of the top of that page. But if I'd done it upside down, I could just say, oh, I'm starting with the back signature instead. And I wanted to tell you that these paper cuts, this one and this one, and I don't think this one's on Etsy yet. But these paper cuts done on kind of a rice paper with a gray paper on top for the cut, these are in my Etsy shop, and I will link that below. So I'm going to link the other journals, and I'm going to link these pretty papers. It's a digital kit, so you can buy the kit and then print them out yourself as many times as you would like and make your own books. So that's going to be my book. Now you'll notice that the foredge of the book is quite a bit more narrow than the spine, but I like putting lots of stuff in my books, which means that the foredge is pretty thick once I get done with decorating. Now, if you're just a writer and you want to make a book just for writing or drawing or something and not use a lot of collage in it, then you could have made this spine, instead of 1 inch, you could have even gone to a 1/2 inch or something and make a book that looks more like a book you'd get from a printer where the pages are all tight together, because I love putting stuff in my books. I tend to give myself a lot of room. So I've given myself that much room to